king, huh? I don't know. Maybe more jester this season. I'm not sure, but anyway, welcome to NAGP's continuing coverage here of this season 34 championship. Right up front, first things first. No Al Merriman yet here again tonight, but hey, let's not blame the poor guy. I think he's about dead from a virus, so he is at home recovering. And in fact, let's try to send him our best wishes, because I got to be honest with you, he sounded pretty terrible. So just moved over here to qualifying. But though we don't have Al Merriman, we're all sad about that. We do fortunately have Jesse Olson with us here tonight, sitting with us in the booth to help me out. I'm sure we'll all be very grateful about that. Jesse Olson, welcome. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Brett.
Well, look, it's great that you're here, not only to help me and to help us kind of increase our viewing pleasure here of this the 11th round of this championship, but hey, you have quite a bit of seat time really in this car this season, filling in quite a bit for Ian Jolicourt.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't my expectation to attain so much seat time for the season, but Ian had a summer vacation, came up and asked me to fill in, and I was happy to do it. I ran a couple races in a previous sub spot earlier in the season, and I really liked the car. I know there was a lot of banter about it going on during the testing phases, but it's a fun car to drive. It races really well. It's quick. It's predictable. It's a good time. I know these guys out here having just a ball with this car this season.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I really like it too, and I think that it employs a lot of very good characteristics that maybe some of the other championships or car packs in Assetto Corsa maybe can't quite take advantage of. You can slide the car around. It has lots of grip, but we've gotten some good bonuses, honestly, Jesse, this season. I think in terms of fuel and tire strategy, things really, you have been able to mix it up really quite a bit, and I think the differing strategies have made things at least pretty exciting from a broadcast standpoint anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. There's been multiple strategies each race that have seemed to be really close, so it's a fun to have the added twist of who's going to be fast at different points in the race and how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, speaking of being fast, I'm on board with Aaron Parsons right now, and I tell you something, this guy has not only been one of the fastest really over the course of the 10 or 11 years of NAGP's existence, but looking pretty strong this season. Currently fourth in championship points as Aaron Parsons, but really has made a nice claw back, I would say, from the beginning of the season. This team really got off to a slow start. Now, it's an outside shot. You're talking about Aaron Parsons, maybe more of an outside shot for his team, but he's in there for a chance. So actually just now beginning a qualifying lap. Okay, no, I'm sorry, he has checked in. So currently Aaron Parsons, let's check in with that time momentarily, at 33.3, excuse me, so a bit off the time. Kevin Lekmansky currently into the lead in first place. You have to excuse me, Jesse, because, not only have I not spent a whole bunch of time in the main broadcaster seat, but, I don't think I've ever had a co-host with me in the times I have done it in the past. So this will be interesting, my friend.
Yeah, this should be a good time. We'll go from banging fenders on Thursday nights to sharing microphones on Monday night.
Yeah. Hopefully not banging too many, but it does happen occasionally. Look, like I always say, if you never, ever, ever take a penalty, you just aren't trying hard enough. So,
Absolutely. I think we'll have lots of guys trying hard tonight. I'm looking through the field here, Brad, and I see a lot of ballast hanging around there.
Yeah. So there is actually. I think there might have been more last week at Monza, and we might want to touch on that a little bit as we go forward, because that was one heck of a race that we had there at Monza. But Kevin Lekmansky with one of our current championship leaders right now, carrying 20 kilograms. There's a few others. In fact, you can just rattle them off if you got that screen up.
I think Lekmansky is probably the odds-on favorite here, despite the ballast, right? I mean, this is his home track. I mean, no pun intended, literally his home track. I see Taylor's carrying 25, Parsons with 20, DeGraw with another 25, Houston with 20. That's a lot of your front runners and your points championship fighters right there carrying 20 or more.
Yeah, and I think it's super interesting also that they're all carrying about the same amount of weight, and really, with the exception of Matt Taylor, who's now out in that championship lead. who last week he didn't have any weight, all the other runners, but now they're all about equalized. So Matt Taylor takes the win. He's got the 25 kilograms. All the other guys now had the extra weight, and now they're all around that 20 kilogram mark. So it's kind of interesting, right? They're kind of all pretty much on equal footing here. And right now I have to say, yeah, all these guys, well, Matt Taylor, he did not turn much, super fast times in the week of practice. We're seeing now him leading provisionally this pole time, right? With a 32.3, and that's pretty good. So they're chasing right now.
Yeah, I wonder if setups will play this week. Did you get a chance to talk to anybody in the paddock?
No, not really. In a very general way, and we'll touch on it in a bit. But in a general way, it does seem like the two-stop may be the strategy of the week. You know how it is, Jesse. There's always an oddball or two, right? But it's looking like it could be a two-stop strategy for most of the field. Moses now checking in with a 33.5. Not too bad for Chris Moses, because frankly his times in week of practice were not looking very good either. And I don't know that Chris Moses had much in the way of practice. Stay on board with him now as he runs around to complete this particular lap. Looks like, excuse me, it is an out lap, okay. And it was Lekmansky just coming through and complete a lap and just not finishing too far off of Matt Taylor now. So P2 for Kevin Lekmansky at the moment. Pretty good time, all things considered, and of course running second, 9 points behind Matt Taylor as they run Kevin Lekmansky. We stay on board with him. Good thing, really, because he did run pretty fast there in the first sector as well. You can see on the broadcast app those green. Oh, makes a mistake though, coming through the carousel / outer loop, whatever you want to call it. So, Jesse, I was kind of looking through the timing and scoring over the course of the week. I noticed that you did not even turn any laps, so you expected Ian to be back. And for you, basically, your ride was going to be over, huh?
Well, I think that was the expectation, was for a 4-week contract, and I didn't receive any extension or any notification to carry it further. Although I had a great time driving in Ian's car, and after a couple races, started to put it together. Competition's fierce out there this season. I think we're seeing it. Look at the points. Look at the times we have on the board. I think this is going to go down to the very last lap this season.
Yeah, it could very well. And I think, there's always a possibility that this particular race will be pretty telling. So 2 races left to go in this championship. We're currently on board with Joel Ekman, by the way, who is really looking pretty racy. Two races left to go, and really it is a fight more or less between the top 4. And once again, I did think that Ekman was on an out lap, but I've got that mixed up, so we'll jump on board with Mark DeGraw here. So really anything can happen, but there's going to be a lot of definition tonight. Look, if any one of those 4 championship contenders takes a DNF tonight, then they have a pretty seriously tough road to hoe, right? If, on the other hand, these 4 guys finish in the top 4, well, then this championship does very much continue. But trying to spoil the party there, Chris Moses currently P3 as they run with 16 minutes left to go in this session. David Zahn running 4th currently. Joel Ekman was just on board with him, running in the 5th spot. So there are some spoilers out there, and I tell you, nobody out there right now, Jesse, they know this track. Okay, look, Lekmansky, we know that it is his track design. It's more or less his track, but we've been running the track for 3 or 4 seasons, twice a season, more or less. So these guys know the track.
And it's a great track too. It's absolutely world class. We're very lucky to have Kevin not only as a racer, but as a contributing team member here to NAGP and developing stuff not just for us, but for everybody to use. I mean, it's not something he keeps to us or himself. He puts it out there for the world to play with. Yeah,
absolutely right. And I mean, it is a benefit too. I mean, not only to us, but to anybody else who wants to use it. Look, he's a pretty anal guy. I think I can just go ahead and say it. But I think the results are, they're clearly worth it, right? And I mean, in this case, I'm saying it as a positive. We all know that, right?
I don't think that's a description you mind giving to somebody who's in the hobby of building recreation, real life, reimaginations of these tracks. I can't even begin to fathom what that process looks like or how it starts, and he's one of the best at it. I mean, he's kind of a modest guy when it comes to it, but the tracks he's built, Watkins, Glen, Bridgehampton, she ran last season with the the 312.67. I mean, that was an absolute gem. I wasn't very good at the track, but I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, agreed. So right now it's Kevin Lekmansky just crossing the line and jumping into that provisional top spot here after about 10 minutes or so running on track. Kevin Lekmansky comes up, but before just briefly there with David Zahn. Now David Zahn was showing the best time in that week of practice, so he has not gotten cheated on practice laps around here, and David Zahn has continued to improve, especially late in the season, has continued to show better and better pace. So Lekmansky comes up that P1, but David Zahn, Matt Taylor, and Chris Moses, frankly, all nipping at his heels. So I think we're very much still undecided here for this pole position. Real quickly, Jesse, we'll go ahead and run down our order as they currently run here for this 11th round here in this qualifying session. So it is Kevin Lekmansky still out front. It looks like he is on an outlap. Matt Taylor chasing him down, trying to chase him down. Looks like he's just now beginning an outlap, but just a little over 2/10 to gain for that provisional spot. You got to think Matt's thinking he can get that done. David Zahn, we just talked about him briefly, showing some nice speed. Chris Moses, about the most snake bit that a driver could possibly be, I think, that I've ever seen over the course of the season. It continued last week in Monza. So Joel Ekman now runs 5th provisionally in this qualifying session. So nice time for him. Mark DeGraw, one of your championship contenders, and carrying a bit of weight, ballast, it has to be said, up there currently in 6th. 7/10 off of the pole time right now. Probably not as good as he'd like to be doing. So it's John Houston, T-Brock Dambam, his team, along with his teammate Aaron Parsons, involved in that team championship as well. So I know John Houston would like to advance from that 7th spot. Greg Myers is in 8th currently, so nice run there for Greg Myers, who doesn't always find himself qualifying, frankly, inside the top 10. It is Aaron Parsons down in that 9th spot, also carrying a bit of weight ballast. John Wathen has shown some very nice results over the course of the season. Almost gets it wrong coming through. I think that was that was a little chute area, and then coming up to the toe. Tough part of the track. Fighting the car at the moment is Wathen, but running 10th currently. Iggy Chiordia coming off his best finish of the season. Currently qualified in 11th, and that's where he finished there at Monza last week. So, boy, it'd be great to see Iggy to move forward even from that particular spot. So good points for him last week. Kevin Miller. It's been a rough season for Kevin Miller, currently in 12th, but we know that he does have the speed and consistency. He just doesn't put it all together one week to the next here in this Season 34 championship. Brian Story circulates there in the 13th position. It is Omar Gomez. Also he has collected some points here or there, so Omar Gomez has made a good go of it here in this Season 34 championship, running 14th at the moment. Dale Ballwood takes 15th as we sit. Sam Rolfe's actually getting some qualifying laps. Sam Rolfe usually sneaks in somewhere toward the end of qualifying and may get a lap or two in. But I did notice in the week of practice he had some pretty good laps in, so he has gotten a few laps in. And Jesse Olsen actually is on the pylon tree, but is not actually running tonight. So there you have it, Jesse. So has there been a general approach for you in these cars over the course of the season? Now you had Phil, I assume, helping you out a bit with setup stuff, but in general, has there been maybe as a setup or as a fill-in driver, you were kind of looking to just make sure you finished races, collected what points you could, but was there a general approach that you took to these races in this Lotus 79?
My approach was a little on the conservative side for the races, and I think that was maybe a little bit of Phil's approach too. I recollect back to he ran the Österreich ring, and Phil was dead set that the car with a little more aero on it was better, and I would agree with him, was better, but it made it difficult to pass and to overtake, and I think that's what makes these cars very interesting is you can trim it out and go for that top end speed and still keep the wheels on it in the corners, although I do see some people struggling a little bit, and or you could just put some wing on it and carry the pace and fight down the straightaway and try to pick up a draft. There's different options for tuning and for pit strategy in this car, and I think that's what's made it a really good race season. I think that's why we're seeing the close points races, or we're seeing the close finishes. We had a a photo finish 2 weeks ago. I mean, doesn't get more exciting than that.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately, we did happen to miss that race out there at Zandvoort. But I completely agree. What I like about this car most, I guess what I was trying to get to earlier, the point I was trying to get to earlier is that, frankly, you can push a little bit with this car. You can you can apply some throttle. You can apply some steering input. You can even slide the sucker around a little bit if you don't go too far outside the envelope, right? And it does make it a lot of fun to drive, and it makes it a lot of fun to race. It's a very raceable machine, I think.
Absolutely, and tire wear is a factor. I mean, I'm not sure if we'll see the different strategies play in tonight. But, I can recall the softs going off sharp at the end of a race, and when they go off quick. So, for anybody trying to stretch those soft, that's always a potential issue you have to deal with at some point in the races. Can I make these softs last to the point before they start to hurt me?
Sure, on board with Greg Myers. Now, I tell you, speaking about tires going off, I'm watching a lot of these drivers go off the track as they try to improve their time. They are pushing hard and really not finding a lot of success, really turning in better times. We certainly have really narrowed up the field, first through sixth place, as you can see on your timing pylon there. But a lot of drivers not making tremendous inroads on actually gaining ground from their position. Right now, Greg Myers has had that opportunity coming now through just the last couple corners. Turns at 10 and 11, if memory serves. This last corner really super difficult to get just right. Taking no chances with the outside walls, Greg Myers. So giving up a little bit of time there. And he does improve now to the 7th position and quickly back on board with Kevin Lekmansky. I know it can be a little hard trying to follow along, Jesse. You had messaged me about the broadcast app, and there's no way I was going to be able to find a link and get it to you in time, just because my mind doesn't operate in that fashion, right? My talents lie in other directions. What talents I may or may not possess, and that is not one of them. So David Zahn now does clip Kevin Lekmansky, who we are on board with now. So nice time for David Zahn. That is approaching his best time on the server now with 7 minutes left to go, and it's Kevin Lekmansky who's going to try to run him down 2/10 up here, Jesse, through the first couple sectors. So he has a very definite opportunity as Kevin Lekmansky through the last couple corners.
Wouldn't that be something, though? See, David's on. Get a pole. I don't. Does he have a pole? Does David have a pole position?
I don't think so. He has gotten.
Where's
close.
Our statistician?
Yeah. Well, I think that might be supposed to be your job, but it's not going to possibly matter.
Oh, it's all for naught, maybe.
It's possibly all for naught, as Kevin Lekmansky does fight back to turn in that 31.9, and you know that he was looking for that. Look, if you run that 32 flat, you want a 31.9, and so to get to that next number, he has done that. But David's on trying to fight back right now, very close to his best time. And in fact, as we leave the performance delta up, I meant to keep meaning to turn that off, so we're kind of more in a bit more suspense there, Jesse. But we got it up, so we'll roll with it. And David Zahn comes off the last corner very well. He's going to improve some.
Is it enough?
But not enough.
No.
Not enough.
But how about David Zahn? Even at P2, how about David Zahn? The front row start, I'm sure, would be, I would be beside myself with the front row start, so I'm sure he's even happy in P2 right now. But as you know, if you're P2, you're only one away from P1. So I'm sure he's not going to rest on those laurels here.
Yeah, currently on board with Matt Taylor, and it can be said, as I think he's just starting another hot lap. Yeah. Look, David Zahn is not going to get cheated on practice, not only practice laps, but he's not going to get cheated on practice in general. So David Zahn works very hard, I would say meticulously, on car setup, car drivability, how to get the most out of what he can kind of put into it, if that makes sense, right? And I would say he has exceeded expectations, frankly, especially the last half of the season. He spends a lot of time with developing apps to help him kind of suss out where he can get the most benefit out of a car. It's worked. I mean, I'm not going to tell him that he shouldn't be doing it because it's working.
I 100% agree, Brandon. Whatever he's doing, just keep doing it because he's going faster each race and he's finishing better and he's having cleaner races. It's all working, right? It's all working at the right time. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a few people chiming in there in Twitch land. Luden Douglas, Boost Beef. I know who you are, Boost Beef, but we'll use your moniker just in case. Hey,
Senor Coupe.
Yeah, everybody, welcome again. Got 4 minutes left to go in qualifying here. Apologize once again for Al Marimon, he's seriously under the weather. So once again, let's cut him a little bit of slack. We'll do the best we can, okay? But you got me and Jesse Olsen around here, and I think we're going to have a pretty good night of racing as we close in toward the end of our qualifying period. We'll wrap that up. Oh, we'll have a bit of a short countdown to the green, as it were. 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. We'll give you some news or notes, and then we'll kick off the 11th round of this season 34 championship.
Oh yeah, I tell you, Brad, I think a lot of these drivers are looking forward to this race. I think this is, a big race for everybody. I don't think there's a driver on the grid tonight that doesn't want to be here. Watkins Glen is I don't know if you could call it a homecoming, but it kind of feels like one. Yeah,
clearly. I mean, everybody has something to race for. No question. The faster, quote unquote, faster guys, or the quote unquote slower guys. I mean, even guys perennially who so far have finished a little bit further back, like Iggy Chiorda coming away with actually an 11th place finish was really damn good. I mean, that's almost the top 10, right? And that's always the goal. If you're a little further back, you want to get toward the top 10, and then you want to start finishing inside the top 10. And then, maybe even move forward from that. But you got to do one before the other, right? And these guys are pretty tough. And frankly, if you're starting to earn some top 10s around here, then you're doing pretty damn good, really.
Absolutely. Let's not count out Iggy. He had a great run in the Thurston in that car. Those guys are pulling double duty, which is very difficult to do in 2 cars. And he may have had a top 10 finish on Thursday. If not, he was very close because he was in the mix for it.
Yeah.
So I know we're talking about Zahn a little bit earlier, but talk about Iggy a little bit, who's been picking up the pace and being more consistent and qualifying higher and finishing higher, doing again all the right things at the right time.
Yep. Currently, again, 13th for Iggy Chiorda. So as we sit, but 2 minutes left to go. Opportunity to move forward from there. One guy that would like to move forward is Chris Moses, but right now, 7/10 off through that second sector. I don't believe he's going to be able to get it done. We'll watch Chris come up to the line just in case he does something pretty spectacular, but not looking too likely, and no indeed. Joel Ekman now, however. Whoa! It looks like there was some contact between Kevin Lekmansky and Joel Ekman, possibly. I mean, they're both spinning at the same time at the same corner, so that's indicative of something, I would think, but that could hurt them both here, Jesse, as I don't think either of those drivers are going to have enough time to reset, get back out, and turn another lap before that time runs out.
No, there's not, considering it's about 100. This is it's well over almost 100 seconds to get around here from pit road. So, no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not going to get another shot. So, Lemansky can't defend P1, and Zahn and Taylor, Moses, they're all on track, right?
Yeah, Zahn is not. It doesn't look like Zahn is going to be able to improve. So Taylor, it would seem would be the best opportunity to unseat Kevin Lekmansky from that pole position for the moment. Other guys, perhaps Moses. Moses does have a heavy spin into the wall, so he's out. Taylor, 4/10 off now through the first sector, so it doesn't look like he's going to get it done. Quick other news and notes as we look through the scoring pylon. It's Aaron Parsons now involved in that championship, but qualifying no better than 11th at the moment. So he's going to have a little bit of work if he expects to move through the field and pick up some big points. It's really Taylor and Taylor right now. Houston, he is looking pretty good. He is actually going to be to the line before Matt Taylor. So we will watch him finish off his lap. Takes a bit of a brush off the final wall. It does not improve. Wow. So 4/10 off the next position up the road. So he may not have been. Matt Taylor takes off. These guys really struggling, Jesse, under full push. When they're really pushing, the car is just not responding for him.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder what's Taylor's mindset tonight. Is he gonna try to go out and push and go for the win? You've got Lekmansky up there with weight; they're all pretty close in pace. Or does he decide to to back it down because points wise, he's got to stay close to Lemansky, and team wise they've got a little bit more cushion. So I'd be curious what's happened in the head of Matt Taylor.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Matt Taylor. He happens to turn out to be pretty good, and he's got a few championships under his belt as well. He responds pretty darn well to these types of things coming down toward the end. So it is Aaron Parsons who is actually going to finally make a bit of an improvement, jump up into that 8th spot, and I don't believe that. I think that's where he is going to start this event from. Kevin Kamansky's out there, but I saw him get tangled up, so I don't think he's going to have enough time to get back to the lines. On will not. So yeah, I think more or less, with the exception of the straggler 2, that should about do it. Here. So yeah, this race and what do we have? Montreal. Am I reading that right? Montreal's last race?
Montreal, we will finish in Canada.
Yeah. So that'll be a pretty good test for these guys as well. I mean, for this car package in general. Now the qualifying session is. There we go. Now it's officially over. Now the qualifying session is officially open. I've been hearing. Okay, got a little pre-race done. Not a lot. A little bit. I guess there's some question as to whether the 0-0 wing, 1-0, 2-0, something like that, or possibly like a 1-1 It could be pretty close. Could be pretty close, Jesse. Do you have any inclination? Have you heard anything? Can you update us on any knowledge?
I have not heard anything from the paddock on the setup, but I do know that quite a few of these teams, especially our mid-pack teams, are they're pretty friendly with their setups. So I think you're seeing some of the evolution of that with David Zahn qualifying P2. They're on to the strategy for Aaron. I don't know which one is better for this location. I would think without the inner loop on the backstretch that 0-0 is going to pay, or at least 0 wing is going to pay dividends with straight line speed and the opportunity to overtake going into that carousel. Yeah,
I would think so as well. So yeah, real quickly, Kevin Kamansky, of course, we did see him pop in with that 31, the only driver in the 31s. To claim that pole position. Zahn, of course, did pop second. Matt Taylor comes third. So, good run for those guys. Let's get you run down real quickly on some of our point situation because it is pretty interesting. So, Matt Taylor, after last week, did come away not only with the win at Monza, but a little bit of weight. In addition to that, he's got 9-point lead in the Season 34 championship over Kevin Kamansky. So, it's 9 points, right? 161 for Kevin Kamansky, but Mark DeGraw sitting third, Aaron Parsons sitting fourth, right behind him. Okay, the total distance of points here, we're talking 22 points with 2 races left to go. Well, that's basically anybody's game. The smallest mistake happens to Matt Taylor, and it is completely on. Now, the team championship, Captain Clutch Racing, Mark DeGraw and Matt Taylor are out front of T-Brock Dam Bams, John Houston, Aaron Parsons, and more or less those are your 2 teams in contention. In fact, I think. Yeah, Squeaky Wheels are mathematically out as I do the math quickly. And frankly, T-Brock Dam Bam isn't looking that great, Jesse. So they're more or less are hanging on by a thread. So they need some help probably starting tonight. Either Mark DeGraw or Matt Taylor running into some trouble to have a realistic hope. But that driver championship is a 4-way battle, and it is close.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% spot on there, Brad. I mean, the team battle, it's kind of all for not one. I mean, assuming some major catastrophes in the next 2 races, which I would hate to see. It looks like Captain Clutch is in the driver's seat, so to speak, for there. I mean, John Houston and Aaron Parsons are sitting 8th and 9th tonight, and the boys ahead of them are sitting P3 and P7. So that's a long way to it's a long road to haul.
It sure is. Well, we'll give you a field rundown real quick, and I'll just go ahead and handle that. Make sure you don't hit drive, by the way. So, Kevin Lekmansky will lead the way from pole position. David Zahn's going to start second. Matt Taylor takes third. Chris Moses slotted in fourth. He would like a good result tonight. Joel Ekman, nice run for him in fifth. Greg Myers takes over sixth. Also a good qualifying position for Greg. Mark DeGraw takes seventh. Aaron Parsons is in eighth. John Houston in ninth. Kevin Miller starts 10th. Sam Rolfe starts up there in 11th. John Wathen a bit farther back, maybe in 12th. Iggy Chiorda takes 13th. Brian Story's in 14th. Omar Gomez starts 15th. Del Ballwig takes 16th. And Chuck Carter... Chuck Carter's in 16th. I guess Jake Feemster is in. I don't know if he may have taken a no-qual penalty. I'm not sure, but it's a possibility. So, there you have it. Now, you know the drivers. You know the situations. You've been out there on track. So tell us who wins this one tonight with 30 seconds to go.
I always like an underdog, Brad, and a guy who's been just on the wrong side of every situation tonight is Chris Moses, and he doesn't have any ballast.
I can't say you're going out on a limb, except that he has been so snake bit would be the only thing. But I can't hardly argue. All right, so I'll get booted to the pits, and we'll fire this thing up here. 11th round coming your way. I wanted to make absolutely sure I got sent to the pits. I'm looking for that heli cam. Chris Moses does make a very good start, so Chris Moses rockets up into second place ahead of Zahn. It was Kevin Lekmansky coming away with the early lead. There's the heli cam I was kind of looking for.
Now it's up to Chris to defend.
Yeah, David Zahn is going to try to come back.
Wow, it doesn't get any closer than that, Brad.
No. Chris Moses hanging on to that spot. Round the outside, I think it was nip and tuck for both those guys, but right now it's David Zahn slotted back to third. He's coming under pressure immediately from Joel Ekman, so Joel Ekman also, picked up a position or two, and that is extremely close between those two guys. Okay.
So if I'm reading this right, Brad, I see that Ekman's on the softs. Do we have some mixed strategies tonight?
So, Zahn is starting on the hards. Yeah, good notation there, because I actually had neglected that with the anticipation of the start. So David Zahn is playing some strategy. That's very interesting. We're going to have to see how that works out. Taylor as well on the hards. I got to tell you, the guys that I talked to thought it could more likely be a two-stop on the soft type way to go tonight. But Taylor and Zahn, they aren't thinking so.
I think this is part of the evolution of the season too, as folks try to see how well they can take care of tires or stretch the softs. I remember the first races of the season, we didn't see very many two stops or, even one stops on softs, and it seems we're seeing more bold strategies, later in the season, and they're paying off too.
Yeah, agreed. Well, knowledge is power and all that. The more you have the opportunity to. As we're on board now with Matt Taylor. And Jesse, you're going to have to remind me, just shout out, say, hey, who you on if you want to follow along, because it can be very difficult sometimes to remember that I need to tell you who I happen to be on and watching at that particular moment. So, and you just feel free to shout out anything at any time. So a bit of a light grid tonight. Now already we have lost a few drivers, unfortunately. Should be noted. Jake Feemster, Iggy Chiorda, and Dale Ballwick all out. We have to assume that's for contact. It looks like Sam Rolfe as well now. Looks like he might have, I don't know if he got bumped or not, but hard into the wall. Coming off of the last, it looks like that was the last corner. So very easy to go. No, that wasn't. That was through the toe, excuse me.
So it's a points night for everybody is what you're saying, Brett.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking that way. I mean, holy cow, we have a battle currently on board there in 10th place, and it's basically, a 10-way fight for the first 10 positions at the moment. Ridiculous. But it is currently Wathen now looking to make a move on Kevin Miller. Mark DeGraw one of your contenders just right up the road from this battle, but Kevin Miller stretching out the legs a little bit there as they head into turn 1. Wathen looking to the inside, but he is going to have to wait through the S's. Can he hold off charging Sam Rolfe in 11? I don't know.
Yeah, we're starting to see those guys with the softs, get to the front and work their way to the front. We've got Taylor and Zahn on the hards, and DeGraw on the hards. They're starting to fall back a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why you're seeing the train emerge, right? I think actually exactly because of those guys. Now, Matt Taylor is doing a pretty good job hanging on to fourth at the moment, but we'll see how much longer that lasts. I don't know.
They're racing. They're racing.
Yeah, so this fight it's hard to pick one particular battle over another because it is pretty annoyingly close between all of them. John Wathen now in 11th. Now, he was just the one in 10th, right? So Sam Rolfe has gotten past. And it's Wathen now trying to reclaim that position with Omar Gomez now behind him. So it's a 12-way fight, basically, for the top 12 positions.
Oh, wow. Hang on, DeGraw. I think that was Wathen getting some wheel spin coming out of the tight left-hander there.
Yeah, very easy to do. So Omar Gomez has slipped off the back there a little bit. So that is currently that's the closest battle toward the front.
Well, I think Mark's just going to have to let these guys go and settle in his race. He's on a different strategy, clearly, and just try to be as consistent. And when it's time for him to put in the flyers, then he's going to have to do that.
I mean, it's looking that way. At the front right now, we want to make sure we stay apprised of what is going on up here. So Kevin Lukmansky is still holding that 1.5-second lead, just 4 or 5 laps in here, but it's Joel Ekman running second. So Joel Ekman now slicing through the field and running in second.
You can say it again, Brad. Joel Ekman is running second.
I don't know, I would never have expected me to utter those words, but hey, look, and that's not to say Joel Ekman does not have great pace, but look, when we're used to talking about, Philippe Samard, Ian Jolicoeur, Chris Moses, Aaron Parsons, Kevin Lukmansky, Mark DeGraw, Joel Ekman?
He's not on the list of the usual suspects, but rewind 10 weeks ago, no, we wouldn't expect to say Joel Ekman second. But the pace we've seen him pick up this season, and he's been very aggressive on early strategies. At this point, it's not surprising to say Joel Ekman P2.
No, I mean, it's very much the rational progression, right? Because Ekman has been running all around the top 5. So, yeah, clearly, I mean, that's the next progression, is to start getting yourself in contention. Yeah. Great to see. Anyway, the battle right now is still over some of those positions a little further back. Taylor, 5th, Zahn, 6th, Myers, 7th, Rolfe, 8th, and just count them on back from there because they're still all battling very hard over those positions. Sam Rolfe now goes for that position.
Throw a blanket over P6 through P8. It's tight.
Yeah, he was taking a look at Zahn, and Zahn's still hanging on with those hard tires there in 6th. What do you see? I do see somebody falling through.
Sam Rolfe just had a spin. He's got a couple that's involved.
So it looked like that was coming through the outer loop, and I think he might park it. Sam Rolfe done so quickly dropping like flies. Now, this is the unfortunate bit here later in the seasons. Especially in the summer, the grids can tend to shorten up a little bit. It just happens. Look, people get busy in the summer, and kind of toward the end of seasons, things lighten up a little bit anyway. So it's just something we all got to deal with. So it never helps losing a couple drivers when you're a little short on the grid in the first place.
Yeah, I think we've seen this. You see it every season, Brad. You've been around longer than I have. The end of summer, the end of season attrition, really starts to grind on some of these guys, and it's a little bit harder to get motivated and come race for something that you're not racing for, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Oh, I mean, everybody has different motivations, right? But anywho, John Wathen comes into the pit, so he was showing some pretty good damage, and he may have elected to get that fixed up. Now he's running on the soft, so there could be some type of short stop strategy thrown in there somewhere for those guys on the softs. Maybe there's something to that, but you have to think that he would be coming in with some type of pit window. Oh, and you're absolutely right, Gup. Joel is, so don't get me wrong at all. He is clearly very fast. However, we haven't seen him running second a lot, or actually contending for wins yet. So, but he has been running more consistently around the top 5. There's no question about it over the course of this season. And I'll tell you something else, Jesse. Actually, watching Joel Ekman for the last couple of seasons, he has been very much a second half driver, I've noticed, in these last couple championships. Toward the end of the season, he does tend to progress further up the field.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Joel Ekman won a competition index his first year in the league.
Good point.
Who can you say that about?
Yeah. Yep, good point. Absolutely right. Yeah, and that actually was kind of surprising.
And I was his teammate that year, so I should know that statistic. So we may not have hired the statistician, but we shared a car, and I think that was the year of the Jordan, which was not my favorite car. I'll leave it at that. I like this car a whole lot better than the Jordan 191 we ran. But yeah, he came on late in the season there too, and I think he started to figure things out with the 312 last year later on. So no surprise, and I know that him and a small group of guys really were excited about this car and did the preseason work, and it's no surprise to see him running higher up the season and higher up the longer we go in. He's going to develop the skills and the setups to be running with the front runners, and that's what he's doing. So cheers to Joel Ekman tonight, running P2. Wish good things for you, bud.
Yep. So, and I have to say, actually, watching our timing and scoring there, that I'm kind of surprised he actually has managed to maintain the pace that he has to Kevin Lekmansky. So I wonder if that weight is working on Kevin a little bit. If that has something to do with it, because you would expect otherwise maybe Kevin to have a bit of pace. I mean, especially with the kind of pace he showed in qualifying, right? So I wonder if in the race that weight is paying a bit more of a toll.
It's got to be, Brad. I mean, 20 kilos is not so much taking a stake out in these cars. You feel it.
Yeah. So watching currently on board with David Zahn, and I believe that Gregor Myers is starting to find his David Zahn's measure a little bit. He is gaining actually substantial ground. I was going to say marginal ground, but really it's more a substantial ground at this moment, as Greg Myers has just turned a couple back-to-back 35.4s to David Zahn's very paltry 37.1. So running 35s other than that is David Zahn, but that last lap for Mr. Zahn not so good, and Myers now looking to take over that sixth spot. And
I would expect Myers to close in on him with him running the softs. He's probably on a little bit less fuel right now, so he's got a little bit more grip and a little bit more go, and looks like he's getting close.
Yeah, no, I mean, you would completely expect Myers to have a little bit of pace. I think, actually, I might be more surprised that Zahn managed to stay out front as long as he has. It's very clear that David Zahn and Matt Taylor, regardless of anything else, they feel like it was the right strategy. They certainly weren't caught out. I mean, both of them turned like a lot of practice laps and developed a game plan. It's very clear. So we'll see how it works out going forward.
Yeah, I will say that the hards are not as far off the softs as the verbiage seems to give way. I mean, the hards are not absolutely hard by any means. You can, once the hards get to a good temperature and you get the fuel burned off, they can be very close to the softs. So now we're starting to see Zahn burn some fuel and the tires being at the right temperature. So let's see how far these guys on the hards take it into this stint.
Yeah, certainly that can have a lot to do with it too. How much the tires do end up wearing, the fuel weight rather, relative to the amount of tire wear, because you do gain a lot of, having driven the car, the fuel weight can add so much performance to the car. So even if you are on the hards, you might not be getting quite the performance, but you burn the fuel weight off, and it's pretty, like you say, it's pretty darn close.
Absolutely. I found myself, splitting hairs on strategy the few weeks I was subbing, and we're talking, just a second or two difference between, running hards long and versus taking the sauce and having the pace with the build delta. I mean, it's extremely close, and it's making for great racing, that's for sure.
On board now with Mark DeGraw. Unfortunately, we did lose Kevin Miller, so Kevin Miller out of this race as well, and we are now just 13 strong. It's not going to diminish the racing action because actually the grid is still quite close on track with some pit stop strategy to come as well. So the race by no means over. But Mark DeGraw right now can see his prey up there, but boy, these guys fighting for these championship spots, Mark DeGraw and John Houston a bit further back, but this is really not the position you want to be if you're Mark DeGraw. Looking, at the gearbox about 2 or 3 seconds up the road of John Houston, only up to 8th.
Yeah, and look where Houston's teammate is.
Yeah,
as a P3.
Yeah,
and I would say he's moving a little bit away from Chris Moses, and he might be catching Ekman some now.
Yeah, I would say it's a slow get at the moment, but you're absolutely right. He's finding his range, and Parsons is among those. I'm not one of them that will typically get stronger and stronger and stronger over the course of the race, just because they've turned more laps. Because they don't turn enough damn laps in practice. They just happen to be that fast, right? So they get in the race, and then they start going faster and faster and faster just because they make little tweaks to their lines, right?
One of the few names you want to see behind you in real time while on track is Aaron Parsons.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he's going to get closer.
So, speaking of getting closer now, it is Joel Ekman who has definitely pulled a little closer to Kevin Lekmansky. And, if you were wondering, as I might have been a little bit, was Lekmansky maybe holding back a little bit, kind of holding a little bit of pace in reserve? I don't think so. I think Joel Ekman is turning better laps right now, and he's turning better laps. So 33.4, as you can see, best time on the serve for Joel Ekman at the moment, and he's just flat getting it done right now.
Yeah, Joel's definitely got the bit in his mouth.
Boy,
the pace is impressive.
Boy, this would be huge, and it's a really good opportunity, Jesse, because I don't know that we have had fewer cars on track this early into a race, like ever. This is really light grid. I mean, compared, this is like, and so you just don't have. You're not going to have much traffic out there. You aren't going to have like many quote-unquote fast guys who find some strategy and try to work their way past. I mean, there's a few, but those hard strategies we'll see. But right now, this is a good opportunity if you're Joel Ekman. This is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I know Joel's been, super close to getting on that podium on any step, and I bet he's hungry to get it. It's. When you're a guy who's been that close, take it from, Brad, you've won a bunch of races, but, take it from a guy like myself who's only sniffed at the top step of the podium. Guys like us, we just get hungry when we get close. And look at him, and he's still closing.
Yeah. Yeah, so nice opportunity for him. Now, if these guys are thinking about, kind of a two-stop strategy, which is somewhat equalized between those two stops, they're going to be thinking about coming in, this lap or the next, right? That will be about 1/3 of the distance. So we'll see. Now, if you do run that two-stop strategy, you generally have if you have some tire life that can run over, because there's no problem with fuel. You can do whatever you want with fuel. It's all about the kind of tire wear you're going to get and how safe it's going to be. Can you still push running a 0-0 wing on the soft tire? So, but if they are thinking about running, the minimum amount of fuel per stop, then they're going to be coming in another lap or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect, if we got anybody on the two stops, it's probably going to be lap 13, maybe stretch it to lap 14 and see if you can, take that little bit less extra bit of fuel. I know it paid dividends for me last week at Monza. I was able to get 2 spots by running 1 extra lap of fuel. So, you know, we'll see how this works out. It's definitely going to be interesting here. So we got the battle up front, and it's a great place to be. Everyone wants a battle for P1. Let's see how the strategy pans out. And Ekman seems to be getting just a little bit closer each lap.
Yeah, and unfortunately we did miss it. Looks like John Houston was able to get past David Zahn for the 7th spot. So David Zahn does give that up, and David Zahn still also does have Greg Myers now filling his mirrors as well. So I'd say from a strategic standpoint, perhaps David Zahn is not feeling too bad about it, but he has certainly given up some positions from the start of this race, and it looks like Ekman is into the pits. Lap 13, Ekman is. Now, they have to run, up to lap 18 more or less? 17 or 18 to go halfway. But I have heard that the softs can be pretty darn tough here, stretching up to halfway. All the people I talked to anyway, the couple that I talked to said that, you don't really want to be on the softs to halfway.
I wouldn't want to be Brad. I wouldn't be there. I think if I were in the car this week, you know, I'd be 2-stopping or playing it safe with the long short on the hard soft. It's just a little too warm and a little bit too much track and a little bit too much high-speed corners to make these softs go halfway. But we'll see if somebody rolls the dice. Maybe it can be done.
Well, I mean that's the thing. You plan maybe, initially. You take a long first stint, right? Yeah, you run the higher number of laps, or maybe you plan on going even a lap or two deeper, just in case. The tires are still in good shape. Maybe I can think about trying to take it halfway. But I don't know. Then you have to take like half a race distance worth of fuel too, though, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. These cars with a heavy fuel load, it does slow them down. Everywhere in the corners and on the straights. And there's also something to be said about running doing the 2-stop on the softs and running 3 similar stints. You're getting a car with around the same weight, with around the same life of tires.
Same type of handling, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have that, drastic cutover from I was running heavy hards to light softs. That can throw guys off too. So sometimes, consistency pays out longer than ultimate pace.
Sure, Lekmansky now into the pits as well. So we had our 2 front runners. It was Ekman. He cycled back into 9th as he came out of the pits. I would say, Ekman, excuse me. He did, cycle back to 9th. So I would say not too bad. And now we do have a flurry of activity coming to the pits on lap 14. Houston in, Parsons in. And so we are seeing those stops come in, and that's not going to lap 18, that's for sure. So,
no, these guys are definitely on 2-stop now.
Yeah, you would think so. You aren't going to stop on lap 14 and try to take the tires to whatever 22 or whatever, right? So
no, the fuel load, the time of the fuel load just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
I mean you'd be at a disadvantage. So these guys are all going to 2-stop from here, and we're going to see. Taylor, who's still in the hards, and Zahn and McGraw. Let's see how this all plans out.
Yeah, so Chris Moses, the highest of the soft runners, he has inherited the lead. He also has not stopped yet. That's why he's inherited the lead. Coming up on lap traffic now, and I suppose we'll see what he's going to do. But I suppose the deeper that you do take the softs, the more strategic options you have late, right?
Unless he's really going to try to stretch this to 18, I think we're going to see him come in this lap. I think he's going to try to take the extra lap of fuel, and we'll see him dive in.
Yeah, he's staying out. Yeah, he's staying out. Well, okay, so if you're taking it to lap 16 now, what's 2 more laps, right?
I don't know, but these tires fall off so sharp.
Yeah, I know.
I would not want to be...
Especially at a track like this, you'd think, right?
Yeah, these corners are so high speed. The guardrail is, a car width away from the grass. So if you get it wrong, Watkins Glen is going to make you pay.
Yeah, so on board now with Kevin Lekmansky, your kind of virtual leader, if I have my ducks in a row enough. And Joel Ekman did not hurt himself, maybe gave up a second somewhere in there. in that pit stop rotation, but more or less holding pretty much dead even with where they cycled into the pits that last time. So pretty even fight.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Taylor, Zahn, and DeGraw now, and P2, P3, P4, all in the hard strategy. So they're a little bit lighter tanks now and can probably run with these guys on the softs. They're going to be giving up some pace on the tire compound, but let's see what these guys can do here with their strategy.
Yeah, well, we'll try to get in a quick field summary. It actually won't take very long before those guys, the guys on the hards do come in. I think there's only a couple guys on the hards, but we'll check that as we run down. It's currently, well, maybe we should wait until, he cycles through again, so we're just going to go and do it. It's currently Chris Moses at the front. Matt Taylor is out there on the hards. These guys yet to stop. David's on at the moment in third, also yet to make another stop. Well, I'll get to it later. I had another thought. Mark DeGraw on the hards. So those three drivers on the hards looking to make some strategery work here. Kevin Lekmansky, your virtual leader before the pit stops, and Joel Ekman, 5th and 6th. Aaron Parsons running in 7th. And let's just take a look at the time. I'd say closing that distance still a little bit. Teammate to Aaron Parsons, John Houston, running in 8th. Greg Myers holds down 9th as they run. John Wathan, top 10. Omar Gomez, top 11. He's going for his best finish of the season. Chuck Carter's in 12th. And Brian Story sticking it out. Big respect. Big props, love, and respect to Brian Story for hanging in there. Last car currently circulating out there tonight. Okay. What was my thought? My thought was, wow, actually, Chris Moses on the softs, he's done a pretty good job, really, to pull away. I mean, he's still out front of Matt Taylor by 6.5 seconds without making that stop. So that's pretty good on the softs.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little bit off.
Oh, he's coming in right now.
But he's in now. Here we go.
Boy, so Moses is going to have to, if he wants to run one stop, he's going to have to run 19 laps. That's 19 laps, pushing it.
What is he? I just wonder if Chris is in no man's land now.
Yeah, he might be. Zahn, DeGraw. Oh, we had somebody come. Moses, Zahn, DeGraw, Mansky. We have another hard runner up there. What happened? Who am I missing?
No, we have all the hard runners. We have Taylor, Zahn.
Taylor, thank you.
And DeGraw, all in the hards, all P1, P2, P3 right now. So, but Lemansky is not far off DeGraw at all.
Yeah, no, clearly not at all. That is absolutely a straight up fight, no doubt about it. So, yeah.
So Chris Moses did 16 laps on the softs.
Yeah. He ran,
is that what it is? 16?
Yes, well, 17. He ran 2 laps 17, right? But in any event, whatever it is, it seems like it's too far to go on Winston on the softs. I mean, from everything I've heard. That's what I know.
Or did he put hards on? He put hards on.
Aha! Now we're really getting into.
Now we're throwing a monkey wrench in the whole game plan. This is really interesting.
Yeah, that's just one strategery, level removed from what my brain can truly handle, right? So Moses puts it on, and hey, that is a valid strategy option. It has been one employed to great effect over the course of the season, but we haven't seen it as often as I kind of suspected we might, doing the short run on the softs. Because really, it wasn't even a short stint. It was a long stint on the softs.
Yeah, and we've got DeGraw slipping back now. Lekmansky has gotten by, and so has, and Lemansky is in the third.
Yeah, Mansky isn't a third now. Those the hard drivers have yet to stop, right? So we'll see how it shakes out where they do and just exactly where the gaps fall into line, because didn't really look to see kind of the relative time they were gaining in the pits. But Taylor's on still have yet to make that pit, and Ekman, DeGraw as well, right? So they're taking very deep, and I suppose, you know, their option is more and more clearly looking like run long on the hards and take the softs.
Right. Well, I would think, you know, DeGraw would want to have kept Lemansky behind him, but you know, Lemansky and Ekman both on what appears to be two-stop strategies have gotten by DeGraw, so you know he's effectively square with these guys. You know, they should be pitting around the same time and both taking softs, so you know his slip from third to fifth, you know, granted it wasn't that far distance-wise on track position, is going to be huge.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to have to wait and see, because I think actually the guys on the hards now are going to swap over to the softs. I mean, as it goes later and later, I mean, why wouldn't you use the better tire, right? But I don't know.
Yeah. Or do you try to carry the fuel early and carry the load and short stop on the fuel? I mean, the strategies are all viable, Brad. Yeah, they're all so close, and it's so hard to tell which one each guy is doing and what they're thinking. I'll tell you what, though, that's what makes this so much fun. It's not just driving the cars, but you know, being creative on the strategy as well. And these cars afford that option this year, which is you know, a great reason. Again, season 34 has been such a fun one.
You know, thanks, Jake, by the way, for the comments. But that's absolutely right, actually, what he did. And also, by the way, sorry about whatever it was that happened out there on track. So I feel bad for you there. But you're absolutely right. Moses look, if you swap over to any tire, if it's a different tire, you kind of want it to be the soft late, I would think, as opposed to the hards, personally, if it was me. But
yeah, I agree with that. I would want to be, you know, on the front foot attacking late in the race, you know, putting the pressure on a guy and hoping to get him to make a mistake, rather than the guy on the back foot, you know, being the guy being pressured.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder here for anybody tuning in. This is NAGP TV's continuing coverage of our round 11 season 34 championship here in the Lotus 79. It's been a great season. It's good to have you. This round, next round yet to go, and we're going to cap this thing off. Basically down between 4 drivers, and let's just take a look. Well, DeGraw's back up to 5th. Strategy questions aside, most of our championship contenders are still in there with a shot to gain some nice points tonight, right? So nobody really screwing up, in other words.
No, but somebody who's not screwing up is Joel Ekman.
Yeah.
What a race. I mean, he is sticking to the back of Kevin Lemansky, and you got to figure those two, you know, I got to think, Brad, those two right now are in the best position. You know, mistakes aside and, you know, anything crazy one-off, but I think these guys literally are in the driver's seat right now for P1, P2.
Yeah, it's looking better and better. I mean, yeah, it's looking better. We'll see. I didn't take a look at the pit times is the only problem, but I would think by the time the hard drivers come in, the first of our guys on the softs is Kevin, and it does look right now like the guys on the hards will be giving up an awful lot of time. But you know, the soft, I don't know. I think we're going to know in about.
Yeah, we're going to know in about 3 or 4 laps, Brad. That's when we're going to.
They're going to have to come in, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to take a word from the wise Chris Moses and pay a quick visit to the sponsor real quick, and I'll be back in 30.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, kind of just bouncing around here toward the top 5 right now. Actually, it actually has tightened up quite a bit. So the gap between the top 5 was hanging about 5 seconds. Thereabouts. It's definitely within 5 seconds now, but what's really tightened up is the 2nd through 4th place battle. As you can see, haven't been focusing tremendously on battles, as John Wathen has come into the pits also now in 10th place. But suddenly we have a little bit of life here on track as we do try to determine all of the strategy questions myself and Jesse have been going through. Taylor and Zahn have worked their way up into that position basically by just not pitting. The soft drivers have come in, but they've worked their way all the way back up, right? So now it is very much game on, and I just want to make sure I'm not saying something completely stupid. I just want to make sure that they have not pitted and that I hadn't missed something. They certainly have not. So Kevin Lemansky now going to go through on David Zahn, and David Zahn being very careful, which I think is a very good idea. I mean, once you kind of have this type of differing strategy, you basically kind of want to just stay within your own race. You want to run kind of your own time out there on track, not get involved and lose time basically trying to, you know. So
And we've got Ekman now.
Yeah.
Running up in the is it the P3?
Yep. Running up into P3 as they run on track. So no inner loop here, or bus stop chicane as the case were, whichever you want to call it. And so he just makes that run right down through the outer loop, makes it pass very cleanly on the outside. So both those guys are through. Puts David Zahn back in the fourth. But again, it is all about the strategy playing out, and that's what David Zahn is really kind of focusing on here. But hey, everybody has a stop to make, right? And he's behind those guys in front of him. So they're all going to
I don't think we're going to see any less racing here, Brad. I mean, David Zahn, Joel Ekman, you got to think both of those guys would love to be on the podium for tonight's race.
Sure.
I'm sure, Zahn let them go because he knows the strategy difference, but I got to think he's motivated to stay close to Ekman here because it's when it comes time to pit, there's only a couple laps between the two of them.
So we have just clicked down now for 15 laps to run on board with Matt Taylor currently. Our leader, the round 11 race here at Watkins Glen. So 15 laps to go. Well, that's from what we saw in the first stint, that's pretty much within the soft tire window, right?
Yeah, with Moses being the exception, that would be the window.
Yeah, now, I mean, that's you gain that if you're Chris Moses, planning to run to the end. You take your stop, and you have to run the hard. You're giving up the time, but at least you don't have to stop again. At least that's the theory, if Moses took enough fuel, right? But Moses, 36 seconds back.
He's there.
That puts him back up there, maybe. Yeah. Wow. This is so I guess first through 8 is still in line for a win. I guess that's just what I'm going to say about it.
How about this? 23 laps in, and we still don't know what's going on, Brad. It's anybody's race.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad about this.
I would say honestly, look, it's easy for me to get confused on the strategy options type game, and I typically do, but this race has been particularly difficult to figure out, honestly, because all three of them are employed. 2-stop, the 1-stop. The only thing we haven't seen is 1-stop to the same tire yet, as Zahn does come in, so he is going to pull the trigger here on lap 20, and I see a car coming in behind him that has got
DeGraw.
Yeah, got to be DeGraw. So. And Taylor looks like, Taylor did come in. Okay, so they're all in on this lap.
They all went 23 laps.
Yep. So there you go. It's decided, and okay, whew. Killing me.
Well, it looks like our friend Jake told us in the chat that 23-24 is going to be the window for the 1-stoppers. So all the 1-stoppers choosing, well, aside from Moses's bold 1-stop strategy, which we think he's on a 1-stop, came in lap 23.
Look, and here's the good thing for the guys on the 2-stops. We're going to know like right away because they definitely won't be able to go much longer. So fortunately, we won't have to. We aren't going to have the kind of lag time we were waiting for those 1-stoppers, right?
Right.
Okay, so Zahn comes out immediately under pressure by the aforementioned Chris Moses, and Chris Moses is going to go by for that position. So not going to work out too well in David Zahn's favor at the moment. And that has worked out in the favor of Chris Moses, kind of where they were running relative to their opening stint pace. It was Zahn out in front of Moses. So a nice position gained, and suddenly it has come back together. DeGraw's going to come out right behind that battle there in 8th. So DeGraw cycles back to 8th. Matt Taylor comes out provisionally in 5th with stoppers in front. Now that's 28 seconds right now. Matt Taylor, your championship leader, to the first place on track, Kevin Lickmansky. And 28 seconds, I think, is going to be quite close to the pit lane delta time. I think maybe Lickmansky with the fuel saving might have him barely covered, get in and come back out in front. But Taylor is going to take advantage of some good tire life here on those softs, and it's up to Kevin Lickmansky now, Jesse. Whew! It's thrilling here coming down toward the end.
Absolutely. Let's see what kind of times Taylor's putting in now that he's got the more aggressive compound on. He's going to have to start clicking those laps off right now. It's sorry for the pun, but it's hammer time for Matt Taylor. He's got to go.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly. I think you have to say the same for Lickmansky and Ekman and Parsons. I mean, too, really. Parsons wants to hold on to whatever positions he can possibly hold on to, knowing that he has to make another stop as well. But, man, it's nip and tuck. And, I mean, Joel Ekman, and it comes right back together again. Yeah, wow. So Taylor has slipped a second off. And I think we're going to know in about another lap. I think a lap, maybe 2 at the most.
So Lickmansky stays out for another.
Yeah, Ekman in. So coming in from the second place on track, Joel Ekman. We will see where he cycles out at. I'm gonna suggest it's going to be somewhere around Moses. That's my thought. Maybe a little bit ahead.
So this means that Lickmansky taking another lap is going to have that much less fuel to put in the car.
Right, exactly. Yeah, precisely. The heck is Ekman? Ekman leaving, so Taylor is through.
Parsons now in.
Okay, so Parsons in. Ekman cycles out. And Matt Taylor did stop last lap, right?
So Jake is telling us that most of these stops should be right around 33 seconds. So this we got Lickmansky and Taylor separated by 30. This is going to be great, Brad. This is going to be maybe a car length or so.
Yeah, it is going to be close. So Moses cycled back by Ekman, lost out by just a couple seconds, and that gap was. Shoot, my memory's fading. It was about 30 seconds. Can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember more precisely than that. So, something like 30 seconds. It's nip and tuck. Nip and tuck. It's all down to Lickmansky, and he is in. So here we go. This is gonna decide it. With 10 laps left to play, 10 tough laps as David Zahn now is on Chris Moses. We're gonna keep a very close eyeball on Kevin Lickmansky when he does finish that stop and come out. But right now it is a very tight battle over the 4th position on track. Kevin Lickmansky still in the pits.
Yeah, and you got to think David Zahn here has got pace on Chris Moses on the softer compound.
Yeah.
And there goes Lickmansky, and there goes Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor's through, barely. Barely.
It was that close.
Yeah. Wow. I'm trying to get to the helicam. Oh, there it is. But we might have. I was trying to do it when they were getting out of the pits, but nonetheless. Wow. So Matt Taylor through, and I got to tell you, he was on the hards that whole time and giving up spots and putting in the best laps he can. But now does Lickmansky have the pace to come back at him with those 10 laps to go?
Well, Matt's going faster. His best lap was his last lap, so if there was a time to do it, it was then.
Yeah, Lickmansky, though, just out of the pits, so, it's going to take those tires a bit to work up to speed, and just have to wonder how much pace Lickmansky, that is going to show as we come down the stretch. But right now it is David Zahn really working over Chris Moses for that 4th spot because... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, it looks like Mansky's lost about a second. Came out of the pits trying to get those tires up to temperature. So Matt's got himself a little bit of a gap right now.
Yeah, I suspect that is not settled. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's a straight-up fight, so Taylor may end up having pace, but I just kind of suspect that that battle's not quite over yet. As we're continuing to watch this David Zahn, Chris Moses battle, and
Mark DeGraw is thinking about joining this battle too.
Yeah, he sure is. He's doing more than thinking about it, because he's right there, right? Yeah, so I would call that definitely a three-way battle for fourth. So it's definitely come back together with just 9 laps to go. And they are going to click off pretty quickly for these drivers, but it is going to be a tense affair, especially with Chris Moses on the hards. And you know that he is giving something up, and he desperately wants that fuel to burn away now because that'll really help that performance for him on the hards.
Yeah, I would not want to be in Chris Moses' suit right now. He's got to be sweating, and he's got 2 guys really fast right behind him on faster tires.
You know, it has to be said, Chris Moses did pick up a podium there in the first race of the season, but other than that, he's had like another 4th place somewhere out there over the course of the season, but it's been dismal. And let's say it hasn't hardly been Chris Moses' fault. I mean, he's shown pretty good pace in qualifying and in practice, but he's just been snake bit. He's just gotten so many people just flat taking him out. Like, bad luck. It happens.
Yeah. All the skill in the world can't get you there 100% of the time, Brad. Lady Luck's got to be riding with you sometimes.
Yeah, no, if you expect to win a championship, or these days, you know, even a race, you definitely have to have some luck there. All right, so it is Kevin Lickmansky who I think he's settled down the tires here. He's
gathered up a couple tenths, about 3 tenths on Taylor here since on his outlap.
Yeah, so he is just 1 second off, and that is very. Oh, David Zahn taking it off track.
Zahn runs it wide at turn 1.
Yeah,
that's going to let DeGraw through.
Yeah, he sure does, and boy, I have to say DeGraw he just wasn't frankly looking that good in the first stint, Jesse. So I think if you're Mark DeGraw right now to be running up in the 5th position here by the end of the race, light field or no, I think you have to be pretty happy, really, all things considered.
Absolutely. I mean, he started the car on hards. You know, he was one of our hard strategy guys. You know, with a car full of fuel and carrying 25 kilos.
Yeah, and it's I don't think you have to be. You aren't too disappointed. But notation for Joel Ekman, and I was going to mention the same thing as well. Boost Beef is that he was the one that did kind of lose out there for whatever reason. I didn't really see Joel Ekman like kind of slip off the pace so much. It might have been a very kind of slow fade, so I'm wondering if he didn't just lose it somewhere at that actual pit stop, right? Coming in or getting out or something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking Ekman maybe just had an off lap, or maybe he had half spin or something, because he was, 1-2 seconds off Lickmansky, and now he's 6-7 seconds back.
Yeah, much less than 6 or 7 seconds back right now is Kevin Lickmansky, so it's well within a second. And I think we can definitively say that it's kind of looking like Lickmansky does have a bit of pace on Matt Taylor. Now that has absolutely nothing to do with Kevin getting through to take the lead, but it looks like he can put some pressure on.
Absolutely, Kevin's going to be in a great position here with this long straightaway. Not quite this lap, but he's drawn in really close. I think he's got him.
Wow. Shoot, I'm sorry. I kind of was looking elsewhere for half a second, fellas. Wow. So that ended up being pretty easy. Had a lockup?
Yeah, I don't know if Taylor had a lockup or a little slide, but he lost the momentum in the carousel, and Lickmansky went right by.
Wow. Okay, so now is it decided? Can Matt Taylor make a comeback? I don't know, but given the kind of pace and ease of that pass, I don't know. It's looking like it might be advantage Kevin Lickmansky.
Now would be that time I mentioned to get inside the head of Matt Taylor and think, do I give up just a handful of points here to maintain? Because, these guys also have weight. You know, Matt's carrying 25, Kevin's got 20. Man, I wouldn't be wanting to play the weight game with one race to go, but I got to think he's going to want to run him down.
Yeah, that's very hard. Also, Chris Moses on the hards. Speaking of, has slipped back to 6th place. So unfortunately, we missed that while we were checking in at the battle for the lead. DeGraw and David Zahn both got through, and now it is David Zahn who has some designs of his own over 4th place. So what happened to Chris Moses? But we have to assume that looking more like a slip or something. A bit of a mistake for Chris Moses.
We got 13 cars, Brad, and there is action all over the track.
Yeah, Wathan, Myers back there, you bet. Yeah, Story and Chuck Carter aren't too far apart, as they're nose to tail on track as well. Yeah, no, I noticed. Crazy.
Everybody gets points and everybody gets a battle. It's what a great track.
Yeah. Mark DeGraw now going for that move on Zahn, but Zahn does manage to close the door, and the later you get in the race, the more door closing you can expect from your fellow competitor. I can tell you that right now.
And you know who's loving this battle?
Yeah.
Joel Ekman.
Clearly. Yeah, because frankly, he's not looking off pace, but those guys weren't far off his rear, his gearbox, right? So I was going to say bumper, but yeah.
Well, he also took tires, I think, a lap earlier than the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
He was a little early of the 2 stoppers, so maybe he's just thinking to himself, I've got myself I've got myself enough distance to P2 that that's going to be really hard for me to reach Taylor or Lemansky, besides an incident. And he's got a few seconds on Zahn. Just sit in there, get your first podium of the season, just cruise control.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly legitimate strategy. I can tell you right now that's exactly what I would be doing.
Sometimes we think alike, Brad.
Yeah. No, I mean, clear as day, especially 7 or so seconds out of lead. Well, I was in there for a shot for a while, but I definitely put it in shutdown mode and start listening to the car. It gets hot, regardless of how good your setup is and how good your AC is. As we see now, it is DeGraw and Zahn continuing to fight. And it looks like DeGraw is going to go through for that position. Zahn fighting back a little
bit. He's going to make it work?
Yeah, it looks like he is going to manage to hold on to it through the little chute, they call it there.
We'll see if Zahn fights back here. He takes maybe a look on the inside? Not quite.
Yeah, very difficult.
Not quite.
Very difficult coming through the toe there. Power down in particular can be very difficult, but there are opportunities to pass, particularly if your opponent in front makes a mistake, and there's all kinds of opportunities for mistakes here in the third sector at Watkins Glen. Basically, every corner is an opportunity to make a mistake.
Especially this uphill left.
Yeah, you bet.
It's so hard to get the power. It's such a long left hand. It's a little bit off camber, and that guardrail that Armco comes up on you faster than you like.
Yeah, sure thing. So Mark DeGraw does go through and has solidified that position a little bit for now. Laps running out if you're David Zahn and want that 4th place position. Just laps left to run. Kevin Lemansky, haven't forgot about him. He continues to run out front now to the tune of 1.2 seconds. So it does look like Kevin Lemansky perhaps does have a bit of pace on 2nd place Matt Taylor at the moment as well. So it really came back together there for us as David Zahn makes another run here, going to the outer loop. Omar Gomez in front. I don't know if he's going to play a role, but he might. Oh, it's very close.
This is scary.
Boy, it sure is. I think David Zahn actually may have taken a bit of a defensive action. I wasn't on board, so I didn't quite see. But I think Zahn may actually just kind of backed off a little early to make sure that there wasn't anything odd. Yeah. Which is really smart move, by the way.
Yeah, good. Yeah, very good on Zahn there to play it easy. You got just a couple laps left. I mean, 4 laps left. Don't throw it away.
Absolutely right. So Matt Taylor hanging in there, and there are other championship contenders out there. DeGraw and Parsons really. Parsons he's finishing back a little bit relative to where he would like to be in relation to Matt Taylor. Lemansky really the only one of those championship contenders getting it done, and he is the closest, of course, to Matt Taylor. So valuable points right now if you're Kevin Lickmansky.
We could see a little champagne popping for the team championship, but the individual championship, we are shaping up to have a fantastic Montreal race.
That's a very good point. And let's not forget those 4 championship contenders. 2 of them, it would be their first championship. Taylor, okay, he's starting. I can almost say he's got a bunch. Not quite, almost, but he's getting up there. And Aaron Parsons has more championships than anybody in NAGP history. So, but Lickmansky and DeGraw, they're in there with a chance for their first, and that's something pretty special, Jesse.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately for DeGraw, the 2 of the 3 guys in front of him are also 2 of the 3 guys, are also the 2 guys in front of him in the championship. So
yeah,
he's going to lose a little ground. And they've all got just about the same ballast this week. So, if they finished as they were, Mark wouldn't lose anything. Taylor Lickmansky would pick up a little bit, and that would put them pretty heavy for the last race. And, that could be anybody's race. I mean, especially if you have something like Ian come back for the last race, and Parsons, he's going to lose some weight. We are definitely not done with this individual championship, not by a long shot, Brett.
Yeah, certainly right. So we did flip back in the field real quickly. You caught that. It was Chris Moses and John Houston, both looking like they ran into some trouble. Aaron Parsons, I believe, had gotten through Chris Moses just before that. Was making nice ground into Chris Moses, what we assume is making ground because of the hard tire type situation there on the Moses machine. But unfortunately, Chris Moses now relegated all the way back into the 8th position, and also with a little bit of damage there. Got caught up in some type of previous. Didn't catch it, so don't want to call it. But
well, I was hoping for the best for Chris tonight. I know he's, like you said, he's had a snake-bitten season, and it seems like that trend is going to continue.
Yeah, well, it happens. I mean, if you're going to have another not so great night, you definitely want it to be in a season where you aren't in contention for a championship, right? So, yeah, silver lining in all things and all that, I guess. And it looks like Houston really kind of just backed off and let Moses through. So you got to think that might have been some type of Houston mistake, which led to that, you would think.
It looks like Lickmansky's put a little bit of room on Matt Taylor there. He's got a little bit of breathing room, and Taylor runs a little bit wide coming out the last corner.
Yeah, I think if you're Matt Taylor, you're super happy right now with second place. You're going to get weight added, which you never really like, but he is going to retain the championship lead. That points lead will dwindle a little bit, especially to Kevin Lickmansky, and he will have some weight, but he's still going to be in the lead. It's going to be tough. I mean,
it's an 8-point differential. Oh, it's a 9-point differential as we come into tonight. If they finish as they are, Lickmansky gets 7 points on Matt, right?
He's going to get, it's 4 points, but Taylor may have led the most. He led a lot of laps, right?
Okay.
And the pole position, Lickmansky got the pole position, so that's a point. Look, don't. Oh, David Zahn takes it very wrong going into the outer loop. And that is, he's going to lose all kinds, at least one position.
He's having trouble getting it turned around. He might be done.
Oh, my God.
Is he going to try to limp it back? He's going to try to limp it back.
Okay. Still running. Wow, so Parsons, that's important for DeGraw and Parsons and their championship hopes, because they are going to be gaining all kinds of points they otherwise would not be gaining. Not a bunch, but I mean, anything that you can gain with a guy taking second place, you're going to take. Wow.
Absolutely. So we're going to have about, I guess the math works out to about 3 points separating Lickmansky and Taylor by the end of this race. If it stays this way for another lap and a half, which, Brett, it might not. This is getting kind of hairy.
Yeah.
With both of them as they finish would be carrying 40 kilos. That's a heavy car. I carried 45 for a race this season, and that was just miserable. Carrying 40 kilos into Montreal, which is a really fast straightaway track with a lot of chicanes in it. man, we are setting up for a great end of season.
Yeah, very good point on the track notes. But right now it is Kevin Lukmansky looking to finish this thing off. So we ended up here with that David Zahn mistake. The top 5 positions are going to be claimed by that 4-way fight for the championship lead. Unbelievable. It took us a while to get there, Jesse, but there they all are. They're running inside the top 5.
And despite that probably being the story of the night, though, the one that's easy to talk about, the one that we have not been giving enough love to is Joel Ekman is very close to bringing home. I was going to say, I think could be his first podium.
I think so. He's had a couple other podium runs, been close inside the top 5, but I think it might be his first official podium. So Lukmansky now.
Yeah, you stay on Lukmansky. Don't curse Joel.
Yeah, no. So great run. Kind of a needed race win for Kevin Lukmansky and his championship hopes. Taylor's going to finish right behind. He's not going to do himself any disservice at all. Joel Ekman is going to do a great job to finish on the podium. We're pretty sure that's his first, and Mark DeGraw as well. Crossing the line just in front of Aaron Parsons, who is fourth in. Boy, that's the fourth piece of the puzzle in that championship. Teammate John Houston. Those guys are not going to gain ground in the team championship, and I think that thing has been wrapped up for. I think
they can pop the champagne. Yeah, I think they can pop the champagne this week for the team, but there's still one more to go for Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, we're going to get them on comms actually next week. Not going to do it this week. We'll give them a little extra time and Owl's deft touch at running the broadcast and the pictures. So for now, let's see if we can figure out a way to drag Kevin up here. Harder on he's turned out to be pretty close by. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, so apparently you do copy there. Got Brad and Jesse in the booth. And Kevin, look, at the end of the day, this is what you needed to do, not only to win a race and get all the kudos and the dancing girls and everything, but to stay not only involved in this championship fight, but edge closer to it. This was the type of race you needed to have. So talk us through it briefly. What happened out there for you that made it go so good?
I was a little concerned about Matt's strategy. I was doing some tests early on. I really didn't like the car with a full load of fuel with my setup, with the way my gearing was and everything. I was like, say screw it. So I went with 2-stop, regardless of if it was faster or not, just because the car felt better. And then I saw like my gaps with Taylor going into the first pit stop. I came out like 6 seconds ahead behind, and I'm like trying to do the math and screwing up my lines. And finally I just said screw it, and I just went for it. And yeah, he came out in front of me a little bit, but I just kind of put my head down and off she went. But didn't run the cleanest race that I could have, but it was enough, I guess. I didn't gain much on Matt, though. He finished right behind me. I mean, I did get the pole. That does help a little bit, but I don't even. Is that even enough to get the points lead? I don't think it's enough.
Oh, boo-hoo! Oh, I won a race. Oh, I didn't get enough points. No. Seriously, no. It's probably not enough for a championship lead, but you are right there and in there with a fighting chance. And it was, obviously you can't control what your competitors do. You did what you needed to do, though, and it turned out to be a great result. Jesse, question, comments?
Yeah, great race, Kevin. My question is, when you came out of your second stop right behind Matt, I know you were probably running the numbers and trying to drive the best you can. What was your feeling when you came out of that second stop in P2 going, oh man, I thought I had him?
No, well, the first lap I knew I was going to lose some time. I was like, my tires are cold and his are warm, so I'm like, all right. I just made sure I didn't overdrive the car on the first lap, because the way my setup was, if I overdrove the carousel on the first lap, I was done. I made sure I took it clean, and then on the second lap, I started looking at the numbers, and it was clicking down. And he made a mistake or two, and then he got screwed up by a lap car. I don't know if you saw it or not. Going into carousel, I forget who it was, but he got behind a lap car. His car started to drift out sideways. He caught it, but it was enough to slow down for me to get by him. And I probably would have got by him anyway because I was clicking him down, but it definitely helped, made my life a little bit easier. Then I was just kind of, I did my best laps in the last stint. We both got kind of a rhythm and tried to just make it as clean as possible. But yeah, I was a little bummed when I was looking at the timer, sitting in the pits, looking at the timer. I'm like, there he goes. But it was only a second and a half or something like that behind him, so it wasn't like it was too bad.
Well, you did exactly what you needed to do. It was nip and tuck on that stop. You made the clean pass, and you did turn laps just good enough. We all know Matt Taylor can clip some pretty good laps himself, but you're the better driver tonight, so I don't think anybody's gonna complain about that. We're gonna give you congratulations, Kevin. We're gonna let you go and wish you the very best of luck next week at Montreal, my friend.
All right, thanks. And I will just wanted to give a shout out to Joel for his podium. That's an awesome run.
Yep, yeah, fair enough. And believe me, we will be doing the same. Okay, Jesse, there you have it. We hit a bit of a dead space there that race toward the middle. Some gaps opened up, but boy, really came together back toward the end, and the thrilling finish between the championship contenders. It was a good night of racing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you could ask for anything much more. We had a kind of a frantic start, and we kept everybody on their toes with the strategy throughout the race. And when it came down to the last final laps, we had too many battles on the track, Brad. Even with 13 cars, we had too many battles. So I appreciate you, let me fill in for Al this week. I had a great time up here in the booth with you. I hope Al recovers quickly here. Nobody wants to be down with any kind of illness. So here's to you, Al, getting better, and hope to have you back up at the booth here finale. I can't wait to watch it next week, and who knows? Maybe I'll find a ride for next week too.
Yeah, well, we'll be looking forward to that, and like you, I'll echo your sentiments, hoping to see Al back, as all our viewers as well. Hope all of you tune in for it's our season championship, and there are drivers involved, so make sure you tune in to that, and don't forget about Thursday coming up as well. So, until then, we'll see you all. Good night. Thanks for tuning in. Okay.